What's going on, Pokemon Go trainers? Welcome to episode 6 of the Lured Up Creator Series, a podcast bringing your favorite content creators to talk about their work, process, and the game that brings it all together, Pokemon Go. Lured Up is part of the Pokemon Professor Network, and today is Friday, July 3rd, 2020. I'm your host, Ken Pescator, running solo this week. As you may have heard on Lured Up last week, Adam's son broke his arm. He's dealing with that, tending to the boy, and being a good dad, so he sat this one out. But of course, I couldn't do this alone. This is the Creator Series, and we're very excited to be joined once again by Nick. You know him as Trainer Tips. Nick, what's up, man? Welcome to the show. Welcome back.
Hey, thank you so much for having me again.
Yeah, hell yeah, man. I'm excited to have you back, talk about some games, talk about some content, and just catch up, man. It's been a while. So how are you? How you been?
You know, it's been an interesting
it's like,
time.
Relatively speaking, it's like, yeah, you know.
I think that says it all. No, it's been a very interesting 3 or 4 months, an interesting year overall. But I think I'm managing. I'm doing my best to adapt to everything that's been going on, and you know,
dude, I gotta
counting
say,
my blessings.
Man, watching your content, man, you've been a freaking model of how to handle this. At least on film, it's like, dude, Nick's doing it right. He's setting a great example. So it's like, yeah, man, you're doing it real well. I'm very proud of you how you've handled yourself on film. It's been very inspiring to see, man. You've been doing a great job.
Thank you. Yeah, I mean, I really am trying to set a good example. So I'm glad that's
it's
kind
very
of coming
clear.
across.
Yeah, no, dude, it's very clear, and you know, it comes across loud and clear in the content that not only are you trying to do it for yourself, but the awareness of the community and your neighbors and your family and all that stuff, it comes well across, and it's very, very much appreciated in this space, especially in our respective states. You know, California's got a lot of stuff going on. New Jersey's got a lot of stuff going on. So everyone's got to do their part. So when you have a platform and you have an opportunity to say like, hey, this is what I'm doing, this is why I'm doing it, and it just brings everybody back down to the ground level, and it's very much appreciated. So why don't you just take a moment, introduce yourself properly, let us know about your channel, just in case people aren't familiar with your work, and then we'll start talking about some content.
Yeah, my name's Nick. I have a channel on YouTube called Trainer Tips. I've recently expanded to Twitch in light of recent circumstances. But, you know, I've been playing Pokemon Go since day one, since before day one, really. Traveling the world for most of that time. Just making videos about the game, about the community, about the experience of playing and how that differs worldwide and how that's, you know, the ways that it's the same worldwide. I really just like focusing on that kind of culture, not only around the game, but just, you know, around the world.
Yeah, that's actually a great point. And I wanted to actually speak to you about that in regards to community. And community kind of is this term that encompasses everything. But I think with the way you put it with culture, I think that's very important too, because the community element is kind of very similar from place to place, but the culture and how those communities kind of interact is different from place to place. So how does that really inspire you as a person? Because it just seems when I watch your content, that culture, that element of the game and that part of the community element really drives you to show off those differences of culture to your viewers. I mean, how does that inspire you as a creator and as a person?
I mean, I think it's just always been something that I've gravitated towards. I've always been interested in how things are different around the world, but also how things are the same. I mean, I think the more that you travel, first of all, you kind of you get to see things for yourself, right? And that's important, because everyone's heard something about some other place, and it's hard, especially now, to verify what's true and what's not. And I think just being there is a very eye-opening experience.
Sure.
So that's something I try to share through the content.
There's so many different elements that come across in Pokemon Go content specifically, and I want to talk about the evolution of your content, because like you said, you've been playing this since before day one. You were actually part of the beta, correct?
Yep.
Yeah, that's freaking awesome. So the channel has come a long way, and the content itself has come a really long way, and not in terms of production quality or fidelity or anything like that, but the actual substance and the topics that are covered. Now, I remember watching videos every day, and you're covering like spreadsheets and mathematical equations and like formulas of how things are built and all in the back end of the game, and we don't see that a lot anymore. And do you think that information is still kind of important, or do you think that it's just not necessary? Like, people care about it, but they don't necessarily, they want to know it's there, but they don't want to know how to do it themselves. Like, you don't see that much anymore, right?
Yeah, the spreadsheets have kind of died off. I think a big factor in that has been that there are just so many well-designed tools available now. We have websites like PvPoke and PokeBattler that give you a lot of that information that we used to rely on spreadsheets for in a much more user-friendly format. So honestly, I think that's probably the biggest factor in
you
just
know what?
not
You're
having
right,
so many
man.
spreadsheets.
Someone could do it for us. It's like I know it's there. I just don't want to have to figure it out myself. So I could just click this and click that, and it tells me what I need. It's like I'm okay with that. I'm okay using a calculator for math class. It's fine. That's funny.
Yeah,
I didn't even think
exactly.
I didn't even think of it like that. But yeah, that totally makes sense. We've actually had PokeBattler and PvPoke on the show, and I mean, tools like that have really redefined how players are able to engage with the game on those levels. Because I would be hanging out with friends and we're watching your older content, and you have the spreadsheets up, and like I'm like fucking eating popcorn, like, yes, numbers, spreadsheets, cells. And then some people are like eyes glazed over, like, oh my god, like show me some trees or something. So it's like it is kind of cool how that has evolved over time. And you mentioned traveling. I think that traveling is part of the vlog culture at large, and I know that you have drawn a lot of inspiration from like Casey Neistat and Anthony Bourdain, and I am huge fans of both of them as well. And seeing your content and seeing kind of this feeling of like, oh my god, I almost feel like I'm watching some kind of travel documentary, and it just happens to be that instead of eating food, they're playing Pokemon Go, or instead of talking about tech, they're talking about the game. And how much of like that, it seems that like that was like, you've really defined that style of Pokemon Go content, and it was adopted by a lot of people because everyone was like, oh man, I want to travel, I want to get out there and go. So how much of that process, now that things are changed and obviously we're stuck behind the doors, but those videos had to be exceptionally, you had to use a lot of resources to build those types of videos versus a video like, all right, I'm going to go down to the Pike and raid, right? So how much more demanding is a video where you're in Morocco interacting with the locals and, putting together these incredible montages of the sites versus something like playing in your own backyard? It has to be a very, very different dynamic between those two types of vlogs, correct?
Yeah, definitely. I mean, there's a huge difference, not just in the amount of time that goes into it, but like the amount of preparation, the amount of thought. When I'm here in Long Beach and I'm allowed to go outside,
right?
A standard, like a new event starts or a new raid boss, whatever it is, I can just run out, not really have to plan anything, just wherever the egg hatches, that's where I'm going.
Right.
And those are pretty quick and easy videos to make, and that's not to say they're not important, because that's new information. The audience wants to know what's going on in the game. But those are like, I can get those done in half a day and have the rest of my day as free time. Whereas when I'm traveling, to start, my mindset is different when I'm approaching a video like that, because I am aware of how I'm presenting a place, how I'm presenting the people. I'm a lot more mindful of like what I want to share, what I want the audience to take away from it. When I'm home, it's like I'm focused on the raid boss. Everyone's seen the Pike. I don't need to show what it looks like. They know what it looks like at this point. But, if I'm in another country, I'm really focused on conveying to the audience what it feels like for me to be there. So an example I'll give is when I was in Chile last year.
Hell yeah. Amazing video. Yeah,
Yeah, thank you. just got around to like editing a video that I shot there that never really materialized into what I wanted it to be while I was there. I just kind of ran out of time and didn't have enough time to like really get just everything I needed to make the video. So I went back, mid-lockdown and was like, well, I'm just going to edit this footage since I can't travel. But one of the things that I really focused on was capturing these images that give the audience an idea of what it's like to be there. So, for example, something I noticed was like, there's actually a lot of really international culture in Santiago, Chile. So I would focus on specifically getting shots of like multicultural scenes, whether that's restaurants or stores or just whatever's going on. I really focus on whatever it feels like for me to be there. The things that I notice, I make sure that the audience also notices those things. So there's just a lot more intention in a travel video versus like a new event video when I'm here at home.
That comes across with the impact that those videos have for the viewer. And speaking personally as a consumer of that content, specifically the Chile video. So when I was watching that, I was so inspired because you were able to capture the process of how that community and culture functioned around the game. And that's what I was really interested in, because it's such a completely different dynamic from what I see here in New Jersey. I mean, we have big groups. There's the common bond. Yes, you have a lot of people down there playing. We have a lot of people over here playing. But the way that the tournament organizers and the community organizers were kind of, taking control of the community and, just organizing and getting everybody involved and getting, local businesses and things involved, you captured that perfectly. And I was like, that's the magic stuff. That's the important stuff, because that's what reminded me of like, this is that Travel Channel style element where I'm like, yes, this is the good stuff, because you're capturing the essence of the location, and we're all playing the same game. So the raid boss that's in Chile is going to be the same raid boss that's here, but the fact that you're able to show how the community and culture is interacting around that, it was like, mwah, chef's kiss. It was like perfectly captured. I said, like, that's what makes this type of content so different. And it was, because this happened during the lockdown that you actually edited this and put it out, it was so welcoming. I got like that warm, fuzzy feeling like, oh yeah, that's right. There's a world out there, there's actually things going on in the world outside of my house, So that was really cool. I really appreciated that. And I'm sure that the community from Chile really did too, because I think you did a great job. And like you said, the intent of what you're capturing, you could spend a weekend or, a week in a location, but you have to drill that down to 15 minutes or 20 minutes. That's, you gotta be very mindful, like you said, of what you actually show, because every minute counts when you're only showing, an entire culture, an entire community of Pokemon Go in a 15 or 20 minute video. So that makes a lot of sense. That's really, really cool.
Yeah. Thank you, man.
Now that we're home, right? Now that we're stuck indoors, and I mean, it's like I know that I love the video when you were trading with Holly, in the parking lot, because we do that in Jersey all the time. Like that's exactly how we roll, and like we'll take over a parking lot, and we're literally like shuffling parking spots so we can park next to someone, and then like, all right, now you loop to the back so you can be next to this person, and like we get all our trades in. But that was really cool. But you've been able to not only consistently still release content, but still keep the content engaging. And I wanted to talk about that paradigm shift of how much of it changed from a creative perspective of keeping yourself engaged and motivated, where you're used to traveling and seeing all these awesome places and meeting all these people. And now all of a sudden it's like, yep, there's my kitchen. There's my bedroom. It's like how did you stay positive, and how do you stay motivated when you're kind of limited like that and still having to put out content on a consistent basis? Was that like a complete paradigm shift? Like, did you have to flip the script completely?
Yeah, I mean, it's difficult. Honestly, it's been difficult. I think at the beginning, I still had like a lot of creative energy, and I was figuring out how to have fun with it, whether it was using the green screen to pretend like I was in Liverpool for the Safari Zone, or
dead, by the way. I was freaking dying. I was dying for that. It was freaking great.
Yeah, that was a fun one. But I mean, I feel like there was definitely a lull after, like, the Safari Zone events were kind of over, and we're getting deeper into lockdown, and I personally feel like there was definitely a point where I was like, I don't have much interest in doing this right now. And I was only kind of releasing videos around announcements, because if I'm being completely honest, like it's hard to play Pokemon Go from home and keep up the same type of energy and excitement about the game when it's become fairly repetitive. And Niantic's been good about having events, which keeps things interesting, updating features and making the game more accessible as someone who's staying at home most of the time. But yeah, it's definitely been a process. I feel like now I'm kind of emerging and sort of getting back into the swing of like releasing content, especially with GoFest coming up. I'm definitely excited about that. And then between that and Twitch streaming, I've kind of adapted to like what the format of the content is. I'm playing Pokemon Go a lot more often on Twitch now. I'm doing Go Battle League, and that makes for really fun live content.
Yeah, hell yeah. And I think as a viewer also, like you were saying, as a creator, there was kind of a lull, or there might have been like this real, changeover mentally of like, how do I still put out content for this game when everything has changed? I think as a consumer of that content, the viewers had to do something similar, where it was like, all right, well, I want to watch these videos so I could see all these awesome locations and great edits and, sick montages with some dope lo-fi, something like that. But it's like, all right, well, now I'm not going to get that. So the expectation on the viewer's side, like on the forward side of the screen, had to change a little bit. And I think that the viewers have adapted really well to that as well, because now they're used to that, which only means that when the world normalizes a little bit more and we're able to get back out there, it's going to kind of be this renaissance of, like when I watched the Chile video, I was like, oh yes, I forgot there's a world out there. So it was, I'm cautiously optimistic of when this is going to happen, but I know that the how part of it happening will be there, and it'll be really cool. Now you mentioned Twitch. That is something that a lot of creators have transitioned to during this time, and I always like to pick their brains, because not just because it's easier to produce the content from a production standpoint, meaning no post-production, or you can do PvP, so it's easier to interact with the community, but I also think that Twitch allows creators to have a little bit more of lateral freedom when it comes to the content and what they do. And I've seen that on your channel, where you're playing Animal Crossing or you're doing like live music sets, and I find myself like, it doesn't matter that I'm not watching Trainer Tips do Pokemon Go content. I want to watch Trainer Tips play some great music right now, or I'm going to have this running in the background while I'm cooking or while I'm doing whatever. And that is something that I don't think is possible in any way on YouTube. And that when you see the emergence of a platform like that, I mean, Twitch has been around for a while, but in the grand scheme of things, I mean, everything is still new. But Twitch has been around for years, but I think that this change of allowing creators to come from the YouTube platform over to Twitch and have a little bit more creative freedom and a little bit more, the ability to spread their wings a bit, has really opened the viewers up to like, oh my God, this person is not just a YouTube Pokemon Go creator. They have a lot more talent, or they have a lot more, knowledge of other things that I could possibly be interested in. Did you see like this crazy impact when you did that first music set? Like, because I think that what I saw on Twitter, people were like, this is freaking amazing. Like, and it blew people's minds. I mean, what was that like? And I mean, you've done quite a few of these sets now, and I think that they've been pretty good. They've done well for you, right?
Yeah. I'm trying to do them at least once a week. Every weekend I'm trying to. To be honest, I miss going to shows. I miss music. So being able to play it and kind of provide that sort of experience for an audience, I think is, it's filling the void as much as it possibly can. But it's always something that I've, it's like a separate interest, I guess. Like you said, there definitely is more to me than Pokemon Go. And it's a lot harder on YouTube. You're absolutely right to sort of branch out. I think people have a harder time, audiences have a harder time accepting a different type of content when they're really used to something. Whereas with Twitch, I think it's a lot more personality based, and the viewers, the loyal viewers on Twitch are there to watch you, and because they're there to watch you, they'll watch you do whatever you enjoy.
Yeah. That makes a lot of sense. And Holly said something very similar, and she was like, when people come to her YouTube channel, they're coming for one thing. They're coming for the Pokemon Go content. That's what they want. And if there's any deviation from that, they're like, what the fuck? This is not why I'm here. But when she's on Twitch, it's a little bit different because they have that classification on Twitch, or, saying like, hey, I'm a variety streamer. So I'm going to stream, and I might do this on Mondays and this on Tuesdays and this a little bit Wednesday, but it's still all me. And you're going to see my personality come through regardless of what I'm doing throughout the week. And that flexibility, I think, has really opened up the eyes of the viewer a lot to people, and saying like, oh, wow, there's more to life than just Pokemon Go content. And I was a sucker for that, where it's like, I stopped listening to music at one point, and all I was listening to was podcasts. And it's like, how did I do this? I was a touring musician. You know what I mean? I've been playing music my whole life. Like, how did I stop listening to music? And I really had to do like a hard stop personally and say, all right, I really need to stop just listening to podcasts. I got to like turn on the radio. I got to, listen to music. And once I started consuming more Twitch, I'm like, oh my God, there's more to life than just Pokemon Go content. There's a lot of other cool stuff out there. And it was like, it really opened my mind. And I think that's the beauty of Twitch, is like, like we were saying, there's more to these creators than just, I hate to say pigeonholed, because that's has such a negative connotation, but just such a focused funnel, bottom end funnel of, I do Pokemon Go content and that's it. And any deviation from that is going to be, compared to my Pokemon Go content. That's an uphill battle for a creator. And I think that's why I love Twitch, because it gives you that lateral freedom. Now, what about Animal Crossing? Because it's been cool to see all of the Pokemon Go YouTube scene kind of jump over to Animal Crossing and then interact with each other. And I think that's what made it fun. I've never played Animal Crossing. I'm staying the hell away from that game because I don't have time. But I sure as hell love watching all you guys play it. And the fact that everyone is playing and interacting with each other through that, it was like, I felt like the community element from Pokemon Go was still there. And that the culture of everybody helping each other and being collaborative, and just that hanging out element, which I try to convey in the podcasts, was there, because it was like everyone's still interacting. And look, it's like, oh my God, Holly's on Zoe's island and Nick is doing this over here. It's like, this is great. I go, this is like, it really applied the same principles of what makes that transparent joy of Pokemon Go, that community element. I was like, it's all there. And then I was like, it really isn't Animal Crossing, it's Twitch. And that's when I was like, oh my God, Twitch is, it's a game changer. So that's really cool, man. I'm glad that you've had success there. I think that there's a significant amount of opportunity on that platform for someone like you, who's got a very diverse yet acute skill set. So that's really freaking cool. And like we were saying, with the produced vlog content, the travel content, there's so much intent. There's so much stuff going on there: post-production, music selection, editing, syncing, all that kind of stuff. What's the big difference with producing content on Twitch, where it's live, and when it's out there, it's out there? Like, from a creative perspective, what are the big differences in your opinion between producing content on Twitch versus YouTube?
Man, honestly, it was an adjustment for me. I mean, I think I'm obviously still learning. Like, it's only been a few months that I've been doing Twitch. For one thing, yeah, like I said, it is a lot more personality based. So you're relying a lot more on your own personality, I guess.
Yeah.
To keep people entertained. Whereas with a video, I can say what I want to say, and I can say it multiple times until I say it the way that I want to say it, or the way that I think it sounds best. And then, I get to add music. I get to add all these interesting shots of locations or whatever it is. I get to add so much more to just me talking to increase the, I guess, entertainment value of it. And with Twitch, it's like, okay, I'm playing this game, but I also I really need to be on it as far as keeping people engaged through dialogue, through interaction with chat, and I really don't think that that's one of my strong suits. Like I've talked about this a lot in the past on my channel. I've always been an introvert. I've always had a little bit of social anxiety. You know, the idea of having a conversation with a stranger is always kind of something I generally try to avoid. And that's basically what Twitch is all the time. So in a way, it's kind of helping me step out of my comfort zone the way that YouTube did when I first started with that. So I feel like I'm sure if I went back and watched some of my first Twitch streams, I wouldn't be as engaging. I wouldn't be maybe talking as much as I am now. I feel like I'm probably a little bit more open about things and not, I don't know. I've grown and I've learned definitely over the last few months, and I hope that these lessons will translate to real life social interactions whenever I'm allowed to have them again. Because I feel like being stuck in here, I've probably lost some of my social skills in the last 4 months.
No, it's funny watching some of like the real seasoned Twitch streamers, because they're freaking machines. Like when I watch A Drive, right? I love A Drive. He's the over the top youthful energy content of the Pokemon world, where he starts the stream and you get the, oh, it's A Drive, and boom, he's going and he's off to the races for like 3 hours and he doesn't stop. And it's like, my head is spinning after an hour, but I'm like, holy shit, like how does he keep up this pace? And that dynamic and that kind of culture shock is so cool to me, because Twitch is so new, and it's, you know, it really does seem that way. But yeah, I see that with your content, man. I've seen that the way you interact, especially when the music is on, I see this in you where I'm like, oh shit, Nick's fucking dancing right now. Like I don't think I've ever seen this before. Like he's really in the groove. and that is so cool, because it's super organic. And you, just like in podcasting, you can't fake it. And as soon as you start faking it in that setting, the people will see right through it. And, you know, so it really puts you on the spot, and it forces you to be organic, even if it feels unnatural for the creator. And I love that, because like you said, man, it's one shot. You're out there and you have to interact, and that chat is running. Like that chat is just goes and goes and goes, and there's a limitless amount of interaction potential. And I definitely see that in your content. And I've seen your progression, and I've seen how you've developed, and that's very exciting for me to hear that, because it's like, man, this is really cool. Because ever since I first saw your content on YouTube back in the day, it was like, all right, this dude gets it. I mean, this is real deal production here. And further developing that skill set and further developing those social abilities and cues with the community on Twitch, I'm sure that will translate to real world stuff, because it as much as it seems like entertainment, it is still the real world. It's still you in your room. Yeah, so I'm really excited about how this has developed for you, man. I'm very confident, and I look forward to, you know, being able to play the game with you and alongside you, man, in the future, because it's just like podcasting. And I always say this. It's like, I feel like I know the creators, even though we've only talked on the phone, or we've only talked over Discord or on a podcast or in production mode or anything like that. You really get to know someone through their content. And again, because you have that transparency of Twitch, where it's like, no, that's really them in their room. That's really their house. That's really them doing their thing. It's like when they need to use the bathroom, they're going to go to the bathroom. Like, this is real life. So that's very unique. And you mentioned PvP, man. How's that been going for you? I know that it's kind of, there's been this boom on Twitch of PvP, which is phenomenal, with, you know, Go Stadium doing some really awesome things, and so many new creators coming out, and a lot of collaboration and a lot of community interaction. How's PvP been for you, man? Has it been something that has really, I mean, are you in? Like, are you all in?
I've I've got 1 foot in the ring, in the stadium, I guess.
What's your how much Stardust do you have right now? That's usually a good metric.
I mean, I'm still over 2 million. I'm comfortable with my Stardust.
All right, good.
I'm pretty conservative with my Stardust, actually. But yeah, PvP. I mean, I've been trying to do Go Battle League more regularly this season. It's definitely been a lot more difficult, I think, to climb the ladder. But being able to live stream, being able to, do all your battles every day without the walking requirement, I think has been a big part of this boom of PvP content on Twitch, especially because it just makes it a lot easier for people to sit down for 2 hours and just stream the battles. There's no you don't have to put in the work beforehand. That's not to say I don't agree with Niantic's decision to have a walking requirement normally.
Right.
But I am a little concerned about what's going to happen to the PvP community online, the PvP content community, when that walking requirement comes back.
Yeah.
I don't know. It's going to be interesting to see what happens there.
I think that's a major concern of a lot of people, and it's all tinfoil hat theory at this point, but I really don't think that it will go back to the way it was. I think that there's going to have to be, just because we have this, what people have become so used to now without the walking requirement. I mean, I love the walking thing. I mean, that motivates me to get out. I need that motivation to be active, because without it, I'm just going to be sedentary. I need some kind of gamification to motivate me to be active. But when it comes to content creation and the ease of the ability to just bang out 25 sets or to do this without having to walk, I mean, that will be a bit of a hot topic when that goes over to change. I don't know what they're going to do. I really don't. But I think that the solution, a good solution, in my opinion, would be to just let us stack the battles. The walking requirement, you could bring it back, make it 3K. Remember, it started at 5K, so the 3K is already a reduction. Let us keep it at 3K, but let us stack 5 sets rather than just 2. So that way, right, you can get out there, still put in the work. You're still following the core tenets of a Niantic property, where you're out there being social, you're exploring, you're exercising, and then when you get home at night and you want to stream at 8 p.m., you have all your battles stacked up, and you can knock it out. That's for sure, man. That's gonna be an interesting thing, and it's gonna be a very trying time for a lot of creators that are seeing success now because of the way things are, and I think Niantic has done a good job of saying, hey, these things are still temporary. Like, just please remember, this is going to change. But yeah, it's going to come to a shock to a lot of people once that all comes back. And that kind of leads me into the next thing I wanted to talk about, and that's kind of the current state of things in life. And, I've always looked up to you as a person, because you've had an incredible air of positivity and kindness and always looking out for people, and you've always had that vibe. And I think now more than ever, it's been very important for creators or people that have a platform to kind of use that to convey those feelings, like we were talking about at the top of the show. You want to put that energy out into the world, just to not only keep people positive, but just to spread a little bit of kindness and get people to have that kind of philosophy and that mentality. Do you feel that it's an important thing for creators to kind of make those statements on current affairs, or is that like a weird subject because some of the consumers are always going to say, I only want game content, I don't want to hear about current affairs? But it's an interesting topic, right?
Yeah, definitely. But I think it's very, very important for us to share our thoughts quickly on the subject of, stick to Pokemon Go. It's definitely come up, over the last couple months. I get the comments, stick to Pokemon Go. This isn't what I follow you for.
Right.
And I've realized, that the reason that is, I guess, offensive, or the reason that bothers me and other creators or athletes or actors or whoever it is, whenever someone gets told stick to whatever, what you're seeing there is essentially just a refusal by the person saying that to accept you as a human being. They're just failing to see that these aren't just entertainers. They're not just playing basketball so that you can watch them and be entertained for 2 hours or whatever it is. These are people, and everyone, no matter who they are, has opinions, has life experiences. Like, we're all three-dimensional, just as complete people as you are, and to say stick to Pokemon Go, to me, is just telling me, like, I'm essentially an object to you. I am a source of Pokemon Go information, and I think the internet as a whole would be a better place if more people realized and accepted that everyone they're dealing with behind that screen name, behind that avatar, behind that profile picture is a person, just as complete a person as they are, as their friends, as their family. And I think just in general, people need to start treating each other that way online. As far as like sharing my opinion, I have realized over the last 4 years, really, it's kind of been this process of learning. Like, my channel took off so quickly on YouTube that I really feel like I spent a lot of time just growing into the channel. Like, I was playing catch up. I was still learning so much. Like, I was learning basic lessons of what it means to be on YouTube at a point where, like, I had already found massive success in terms of viewership. So I think for me, that was kind of a different experience than a lot of people have who maybe have, a slower growth on YouTube.
Right.
But one of the things that I've realized that's become really important to me is that I have this platform, and there are people who are listening to me. Like, if I say something that I think is important, I know that there are at least 100,000 people who are going to hear that. And that comes with a lot of responsibility. So I've tried to be very conscious of, like, what I'm saying, what I'm promoting. But I also feel like like, I can't just sit by and not say something when something important is going on. I've realized this recently, that before YouTube, I had this kind of sense that, like, okay, nothing I do is really that significant in the grand scheme of things. And honestly, that's still true on like a cosmic scale, right?
Right.
Not much of what I'm doing is that important. But with this audience that I've built, with this following that I have, I can at least have some level of impact. Whether it's one person taking something away from the video or however many people, I have this really unique opportunity to affect people's lives on a macro scale. It's not one-on-one. I'm not sitting down with people and talking to them directly, but I can reach so many people with an idea, with a message. And that's something that I've started to take a lot more seriously recently.
That's a beautiful thing to hear personally, because I feel very similar, and I think it's very important that what it all boils down to is not I'm on the left or I'm on the right. It's all just about, and this is a little bit of a harsh way to say it, but it's the don't be a dick philosophy. Like, it's just don't be a dick.
Oh, yeah.
Like, just be kind. Like, it doesn't matter what it is. The root of all solution, and any topic, doesn't matter what it is, just be kind. Just don't be a dick. And it's like, when you get that across, it's like people are like, oh yeah, okay, all right, I get it now. Yes, I understand what, you're not bullying me into these positions. You're not bullying me into these perspectives. You're just telling me to be a kind person. How could I disagree with that? How could I be against that? Like, yeah, sure, I want to be kind. I want to be a nice guy. It's like getting past those barriers of understanding there is very important. And it's very important that people realize that. And I think it comes full circle to what we've been talking about here, where there is more to a person than their content, and they are real life people. And I think that that's something that could even be applied to like Niantic, because Niantic catches a bad rap about everything they do too, and people forget these are people. These are people working from home. These are people that haven't been in their office in 4 months. These are people that care about the game like you and I. So by giving them shit the way they do, you're just dismissing them. Just like you're saying, you're objectifying me as I'm a Pokemon Go YouTuber and that's it. It's like it's very easy. People don't realize how easy it is to hurt someone's feelings, because for some reason, if you're on the internet or you're behind a screen somewhere, you know, they think you're this bulletproof person that's impenetrable. But, you know, and when it all comes down to it, it's like, no, I'm a human too. I'm kind. I want to be kind to myself. I want to be kind to others. So when I get that kind of flack from people or that kind of negative energy, it's like the only way I can combat that is with kindness. And the only way I can combat that is with some degree of positivity to kind of counteract that negative energy. Get that shit out of here. Like, I don't want to deal with that. So it's that's awesome to hear, man. It's a fantastic perspective. Remove YouTube, remove Twitch, remove Pokemon Go, person to person. That's an important thing, and those mentalities are the foundation of rewiring this freaking world of trying to do something better. And it sounds campy and it sounds cheesy, but it starts at the ground level. It's just like anything else. You have to have these kind of core beliefs of saying, like, look, let's just be better. And things will start to change. The fundamentals will start to change. So that's awesome to hear, man. Super inspiring. I love that shit. I love it.
Yeah, absolutely.
Cool. So as we're wrapping up here, I want to talk about the reverting to normalcy in the world. And I know that's even a weird thing to say, like, oh, the new normal. Like, I hate that, you know, but, you know, ultimately things will revert to a more comfortable state. I'm sure that we're going to have lessons that we've learned over the past couple months that we'll take with us for the rest of our lives and the future generations. Everything will change. However, we will get back to a point at some time, who knows when that'll be, depending on how smart everyone is. But when you have content that's based on travel or focused on travel, and then that travel is removed and things are started, like, it was awesome to see you out in your car next to Holly. I'm like, oh shit, Nick's outside. I was like, this is great. But when you're, you know, when the travel starts to come back, you know, like the impact that this situation has had on the game and Niantic's ability to pivot. How do you feel Niantic has kind of handled the situation? I know you were saying, like, they've done great things with accessibility and keeping the game, you know, up to date with events and stuff like that. But I mean, what do you think of the whole situation in terms of the game? I mean, this is an unprecedented time, and I think that the decisions that Niantic has made are really setting a solid example of how to adapt in real time, like on the fly in a crazy situation, because like I said, people are working from home and they're still able to do all this stuff. Like, any thoughts or feelings on how Niantic has handled this whole thing?
Yeah, I mean, honestly, I think they've done a great job, you know, between like remote raids, just simple things like expanded Pokestop radius, buddies bringing you gifts, buddies bringing you items, the free boxes that we've had. Like, they've definitely done, I think, everything they can to adapt to the situation. So yeah, I mean, it definitely bothers me when people continue to complain about things.
Right. Yeah.
But yeah, I mean, I think they've done a great job, especially given the fact that, like, their entire business is built on getting people to go outside and interact. This is probably the worst case scenario for a game like Pokemon Go, for a company like Niantic. The world as it is right now just doesn't allow what Niantic is trying to encourage through all of their properties. So to see them react and keep the game engaging, I think it's admirable, really, that they're able to pull it off.
That's a great way to put it. And you know, I love talking to people outside of the Pokemon Go space and just a business perspective. You know, I like to work with local businesses, and, you know, I'm that guy that goes to, like, you know, local chamber of commerce and networking 2020s and stuff like that. Like, I love all that stuff. So being able to talk about Niantic in that perspective and what they've done and how they've handled it, It really is admirable. That's a perfect way to put it. Now, as we revert to some normalcy and as things get better over time, with let's just put our rose-colored glasses on for a second. Perfect world, safety and health are not an issue. What's like the first thing you want to do? Like what do you miss the most? Like what do you want to if there was no worries about any of this health shit, what would you want to do like today?
Man, I think about it occasionally. I would really like to just take my trailer out and go be out in the middle of the wilderness somewhere, just kind of removed from like the internet, put my phone away, not have my computer with me because they've been in front of my face for 4 months straight. Almost, all of my waking hours are spent in front of some kind of screen. So to just disconnect from that and be out in nature. Oh God, it sounds great. It sounds great.
Well, I have on my 2021 list is I want to hit up Joshua Tree. That's like that's on my list.
Yes.
I want to get out there.
It's my favorite.
Yeah, it's like I think I really need that, and I need that disconnection, and I need that ability to break the cycle that I'm used to. I mean, like my eyeballs are like killing me right now because of looking at a screen so much. Like I'm literally like headaches. I can't sleep because I'm so honed in on content and being in front of a screen. It's like, wow, I really need a change. I really need to get out there. But yeah, it's I think that's what a lot of people want right now. It's just a break and just to be able to like, take your shoes off and feel the earth. Like it's something that I really need. It's like I've gotten into gardening like crazy. Like that's my new hobby now. And it's like, because that's my little bit of an escape of being able to connect with nature, even if it's in my backyard, but it's like, I really do miss that. Yeah, man. But anywhere you want to travel to, anywhere like anything any place you want to go that you have been?
I was really hoping to go up to Banff National Park, Banff and Jasper in Canada. Yeah, that was kind of my plan for the trailer for this summer. I wanted to road trip up there and then kind of figure out, maybe take the long way there, a different route back. So yeah, that's definitely still up there. And then internationally, who knows? I had a trip to Norway planned for May that obviously didn't happen.
Right.
So I'd like to, reschedule that. I feel like I owe it to whoever was excited about that trip.
Nice. Yeah. That's something that Adam and I are looking forward to. Like I want to send Adam to Worlds in London next year, and I want to hit up Japan next year for an event. So it's definitely, we've been inspired so much by, seeing video-based content of people traveling the world. It's like, yes, that's it. 2021, putting our foot down. This is the year we're making it happen. But all right, so as we really wrap up here, any personal goals? You're creeping on 1 million subs, right, man, on YouTube? That's fucking nuts, dude. That's so crazy.
Yeah, I guess so. I mean, to be honest, I really don't think about it that much in terms of the numbers. I think it's a cool milestone. I've never been big on milestones. I think I've talked about this in my content. Like, I don't ever do much for my birthday. I like to take every day as it is and try to be grateful for things every day rather than put all that emphasis on one specific number. Because at the end of the day, it's all pretty arbitrary.
Yeah.
I do have plans. There's something I want to do. I think I've kind of been teasing this across different platforms, but there is a big trip, a big video idea that I want to do for 1 million subscribers just to celebrate. So hopefully I can get that done. But as far as plans and goals, I've really always just kind of taken things a day at a time. I'm really not that much of a goal-oriented person. And I've tried to set goals and at the end of the day I'm like, well, I could try or I could just I could just go with the flow and see what happens. And that's worked out for me. Yeah, exactly. I mean, I feel super fortunate that I've been able to live that way. But at the same time, I think that kind of aligns with my philosophies as far as the idea of this pursuit of certain types of growth. Personal growth is definitely where I'm focused. I've put a big emphasis on therapy over the last 6 months. I've been seeing a therapist weekly, which I think has been really, really good for me.
Nice.
In just learning more about myself and how I operate, trying to identify like patterns in my life that maybe I need to move away from. And I think it's been a good opportunity too to kind of talk about that experience and hopefully help normalize that, in the bigger scheme of things, because it is at this point still kind of a taboo to talk about mental health and your own personal mental health journey. So I think being open about that has probably been good for me and hopefully good for a lot of people. Like I've gotten a good response from people who are happy to hear that I'm sharing those types of things. So
yeah,
I guess
I definitely
there's
I'm
a
glad
goal.
to hear it.
Help normalize
that's
it.
great, man, dude. That's awesome. That's a wonderful goal, and I think that plays to your humble strengths, and it also plays to the desire of the community to learn about this stuff. And like you said, break that taboo, because we're all dealing with shit. We're all going through it, and being able to connect with someone on that level and say like, wow, this person isn't just talking to the therapist about this behind closed doors. They're on a platform and they're talking to 100,000 people. They're talking about therapy, or they're talking about this. That destigmatization of the whole thing is, again, rewiring the way society functions. And I think that's just going to lead to, again, call me fucking cheesy, but the world being a better place, because we're all going to be a little bit more kind and a little bit more compassionate and empathetic. And that can only lead to people being more kind and, things being better. So that's a great goal, man. That's really freaking cool. I definitely appreciate that. But I think that's it, man. Dude, I appreciate you coming on so much. I know that July 4th weekend, we kind of were able to schedule this and get it done, and I really do appreciate it. So Nick, thank you, man. Thank you so much for coming on the show. We really appreciate it.
Of course, man. Thank you again for having me.
Absolutely.
It's always fun.
Yeah, I'm gonna. I got a little project that I'm working on. I want to get the a lot of the larger tubers and Twitch streamers together and do like a roundtable hangout and get everyone on. So we'll have to get you back on for that, and we'll all hang out and have a little Twitch party or something like that. It'll be fun.
Definitely.
All right, so why don't you let our community know, where can they find you? Of course, links will be in the description to everywhere that you can find Nick, but please let us know where you are online, and we'll definitely send our traffic your way.
Well, I appreciate it. Most of the time now I'm on Twitch. It's twitch.tv/TRNR tips. We chose to abbreviate it a long time ago, and I kind of regret it. But Turner tips on Twitch, on YouTube, Twitter, Instagram, mostly Twitch though. That's where I'm hanging out most of the time these days.
We'll definitely have links to everywhere that you are in the description. Please make sure you give Nick a like, follow, subscribe, all that, jazz that everyone talks about with all the social channels and all that stuff. For everyone else, thank you so much. This has been an episode of the Lured Up Creator Series. Please check out luredup.com for everything that we have going on with the show, and PokemonProfessor.com for everything that we have going on the network. Next Friday, July 10th, we're doing a Twitch roundtable with the Go Stadium cast. So we're going to have like 15, 20 people from Go Stadium together in a room. We're going to have a great time. It's going to be on Go Stadium's Twitch channel. Then it'll come out on VOD on the Pokemon Professor YouTube and our podcast services. So it's going to be a fun collab. Make sure you check that out. And other than that, keep training, trainers. That's our motto. Thank you so much. Nick, thank you so much again. We appreciate your time.
Thank you.
All right, everyone. We'll see you next week.